easy out.
I don't need outs.
It's an easy
That's
out.
not how I do sports talk. All I do is watch the games and give my takes. I'm not strategizing
easy
like you.
off-ramp, though.
I don't want an off-ramp.
He will in about 6 months.
See, so Brew's got it. I need at some point, maybe it's during predictions week, Brew to actually tell us how he feels about Caleb.
He loves Caleb.
Because it's
like
always,
Caleb.
I like Caleb,
just need to
but,
see
and
more.
then it's a whole litany of concerns. So I think 25th is probably a touch pessimistic, but I also think that, more than a touch pessimistic, I think it is pessimistic, but I also think it is a reminder that the Bears' additions this offseason, which I think were very important, were on the line and on the defense, not at the skill position guys.
Right.
And the trio of receivers that we all thought, nobody more so than me probably, was going to be super impactful last year, were all in different ways disappointing. And now we can put that on Caleb and on the coordinator and on the head coach. But Keenan Allen obviously was not what they hoped he would be, and he's not on the team anymore. DJ Moore was not as explosive as we've seen him in years past. And some people thought Rome Odunze was the second best. Some people thought he was the best receiver in that class. Right now, it would appear he's a strong fourth or fifth. Like the two, Marvin Harrison, obviously Malik Neighbors, and obviously Brian Thomas Jr., who went after him, jumped him. And so those things, plus the fact that I think people are not as high on Swift as maybe they once were, lead to this drop. Like that's my answer. No exit ramp from me. No, I didn't rank him 25th. Barnwell ranked him 25th.
Exit ramp, right?
I don't want an exit ramp, but I think. Do you think anything?
Highway.
No, I think I have very high expectations
Rest area.
for Caleb. Shut up. Go ahead.
Mind-boggling to me.
Wow.
25th? That's crazy. And I think a lot of the reason, and I'm not even, this is not a big criticism of Caleb, because the offensive play calling and everything was not the greatest, obviously. But one of the reasons I think those receivers didn't shine is because Caleb was getting sacked, or he was off schedule, or he was running around. You know what I mean? So I think they're weapons, and you are right in that the improvement on the offensive line is maybe the most exciting thing they did in the offseason. But Odunze, they added Luther Burden, and DJ Moore, I still think is a very good receiver. Swift wasn't as good last year as expected, but I still think he's, pretty good. And then you add the tight ends. They already had Cole Kmet, who's pretty good. They drafted Loveland. I just think the weapons are very good. I think they should probably be middle of and even that, but even 15th is 10 spots up from what he has them now.
So
I
think the Bears have, because again, this is just running backs, tight ends, receivers. And from looking at the way Barnwell did it, he seemed to really value superstar in a spot. So like the Ravens were in the top 10. And I look at the Ravens as a below average receiving core, average tight ends, superstar running back, and that put it, you know what I mean?
But he said the receivers and tight ends, or receivers at least, weighed more heavily than the running back.
I know that he did, but I'm just saying when you see the Ravens in the top 10 and the Bears here, I think what hurts the Bears, same thing that hurt the Packers in these rankings, is that you don't have any one guy that you're like, that guy's a definite all-pro candidate, right?
Okay. Trying to figure out exactly why or where they should be ranked, to me, is really not the conversation worth having, honestly, because it's just like, who cares in that regard? Because I do think it's crazy. I think there's no way that you're going to say that the Bears are bottom of the NFL in playmaking group, and I think what they did in the offseason, what they did in the draft. I know Caleb's technically not part of it, but what Caleb will be able to do and bring out of those guys, as well as Ben Johnson, I would say you could say that they're 25th best if you remove Caleb. First of all, I still don't think this would be true, but let's just say it was true, that if you remove Caleb from the equation in terms of what his impact will be on said playmaking group, as well as Ben Johnson, as well as an improved O-line. When you add those three pieces right there, that already now will elevate the production and the performance of said playmaking group. So that's why, the rankings itself, it just doesn't mean anything to me. It really, really doesn't. And I think when you are a great offensive play caller, you're going to get a lot out of your group. And you're going to get a lot of production out of them. And we see that with all great offensive coaches, whether it's Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Kevin O'Connell. And that's where Ben Johnson enters the equation. And so the whole conversation of like, it's funny because when I saw how this conversation was unfolding, I was thinking about like, because they were saying, oh, Nick, you need an off ramp. And that is such a common take surrounding the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams over this offseason. About, they're like, oh, people are trying to leave an out for why Caleb Williams will struggle again, right? Or why the Chicago Bears won't be good. People are already kind of setting the tone for excuses. Everyone made excuses in year one, and now you're already setting up excuses for year two. And then it's just like, well, then my question to them is, well, then, like, what's the truth? If they actually do have the 25th best, so bottom of the NFL in playmaking, and if Ben Johnson isn't a proven great offensive head coach, then why would we expect Caleb Williams to be successful? So, like, if all those things end up being true, then is it really an excuse or just a reason? Would this then just be another situation where the team and the organization is failing said quarterback? So it's kind of weird to me. And that's why I always ask, it's like, what lens do you want to look at something through then? Because if anything, if you want to set up a situation where you want to bring down Caleb Williams, but then you should be saying, great coach, great O-line, great weapons. And if he struggles, see, not good enough. And actually, if you still don't like him, you could say he's only successful because he's got great weapons, a great O-line, and a great coach. So like, it's I don't know. It becomes kind of a weird situation and a weird conversation, honestly. I believe in what the Chicago Bears are building. Like, I love what they're doing, and especially if some of this ranking is based off of players who haven't played in the NFL, or you're going based off of like what we've seen in years past with the Chicago Bears, and I don't care. At this point, I do not care how anyone played last year or the year before. I don't know how many players are lingering over at this point off the top of my head who was still there with Justin Fields and whatnot. And I just don't care. I mean, it just means 100% nothing to me. Nothing to me. It's like I'm only looking forward to what we have today. And to be fair, and Bruce said, oh, last year they couldn't get the most out of them because like Caleb was being sacked and coordinating and stuff like that. To be fair, everybody failed. It was a combination. I pointed that out all throughout the season. There was absolutely times that Caleb was failing the team. Someone's open, he's missing the throw, and there's other times that Caleb makes an awesome play and they just drop it, and you're just like, dude, we can't do this. Like, everyone just keeps failing each other, and when you need someone to kind of step up and make a play, they're just both failing to do so. So it was a collective team effort in that regard. And I'm not anticipating that to happen. I'm not anticipating that. And so I also think that this team has a lot of guys beyond just Caleb Williams who feel that they need to prove who they are as players. They need to earn their paycheck. They need to earn their job. They need to earn their NFL resume, their Pro Bowls, their All Pros, their money, their Hall of Fame resume. Obviously, for some of these players, like very early on, and so they're gonna be also like all in on a Ben Johnson. That's why I always emphasize, like, they're not part of the Caleb Williams story. They're part of their own story. And you're going to have a lot of hungry guys who are like, let's get after it. You're not just bringing a team that's like really established necessarily, where guys are kind of like, yeah, we know what we're doing. Yeah. I've heard this a million times. And now you're getting a new coach and you're having a young quarterback struggling. Like, this is a group of guys who are like, no, like, let's get after it. And you still do have some veterans like a Swift, for instance, to kind of round it out a bit. So I believe. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears? How do you feel about this ranking of them being the 25th best playmaking group? It doesn't even matter. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, because it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.